Hello, 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 and welcome to Locked In. That's right, this is the Important Nonsense Betting Show, and we've got so much to talk about because, I don't know if you were paying attention, but today is the day after Selection Sunday. And of course, I am joined by the lovely, the fantastic, at that FF nerd, Jason Draven.
Yeah, man. Of course, Tom Brady can't let us have one day of college basketball news. He has to come in and say, "Oh, I'm not actually retired." He couldn't cack it as a dad, so he's back to playing football.
He couldn't. He had to take it over. Can't have
football. Can't give us one day. They can't have college basketball just have one day that they just celebrate. Nope. All the college kids' dreams just got squashed.
I don't know if they got totally squashed. They do still have the entire tournament. A tournament that will be broken down by our friend Vishal Gupta. Vishal, how's it going here tonight?
Doing great. So excited when the brackets come out. Next week, it's just basketball nonstop.
Basketball, and no free agency. This is a strictly NBA or NCAA.
We can make fun of the Jaguars 365 days of the year. We can skip this week.
Exactly. Maybe some breaking news as it comes in, but regardless, we'll be focusing on the hoops with our friend at QB3. Not a very basketball-friendly name, but Chris Salazar has.
But you see his shirt. You see his sweatshirt on right now. Got that TT Red Raider coming through hot.
I mean, hey, my Red Raiders are primed and ready for a run. We just got to, we want a rematch with Gonzaga, and, we got to make things right. And this time we're not losing in the national championship. We're going to come out victorious. I promise you that.
Now, you promise us that. Well, we'll see about that, but we will be breaking down the entire bracket, as you can see here. We're going to be using the ESPN one, but there is a important nonsense bracket challenge that I don't know if we can sign up for yet. It's coming soon, though. So make sure you check out Important Nonsense and the Important Nonsense Patreon to get in that tournament. In the meantime, though, we've got a bracket to build. First and foremost, Gonzaga, Georgia State. Sounds pretty straightforward, am I right?
Yeah, they just have too much height. I mean, the talent on Gonzaga, this isn't even a competition. I feel bad for Georgia State. This is a rough draw for them for sure.
Agreed. You're penciling Gonzaga for this one.
Yeah, this shouldn't be a contest, really.
Seems like a clean sweep.
Sounds like a clean sweep, so we're going to be locking in Gonzaga over Georgia State. Then we've got Boise State versus Memphis, the 8-9 game. Who we going with here?
I mean, I'm very critical because I love my AAC teams, and so I think that Memphis actually takes down Boise State just based on the talent. And the fact that Larry Brown has come on coaching as an assistant coach for Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Crews, because I feel like going to make it a lot tougher for Boise State and all the. I mean, they recruit well, but man, the talent on Memphis is going to be a lot to overcome with, especially with Jalen Duren and all that squad just feasting down low. I'm worried for Boise here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Memphis, too. Memphis just has better statistics across the board when compared to Boise State. They shoot the ball better from 2-point and 3-point range. They play better defense. They score more. They get to the free throw line more. They're just all-around better team, I think, and all the stats point towards Memphis on this one.
Yeah, if Boise's smart, what they need to do is exploit Memphis's weakness here, which is really fouling and turning the ball over. So if they can get in the passing lanes and really disrupt them, they will have at least somewhat of a shot, but that they have to hope that they can get the big guys out quick to really compete.
I will say I used to be, as of last year, a Boise State homer because a local kid from my town in Oswego, Illinois, Ray J. Dennis, he actually played there, but he transferred to Toledo, so I'm going with my brain here. Memphis. They just can't. They're just going to shoot him out of the gym. It might be a close one, but I'm going Memphis as well.
So that is 3 for Memphis. Memphis is going in. Next up, we have the 5 versus the 12 in New Mexico State, the 12 seed versus the University of Connecticut Huskies.
Yeah, I mean, I like them both here. This is going to be a fun matchup. I just think that, again, because it's a Big East and a tougher conference, UConn should be able to just kind of shut this game away. But at the same point, I think that if you're betting the spread here, you want to take New Mexico State because UConn is going to be completely fine just dribbling the game out and really just keeping a lead and going with it. So that's the only big issue I could see with this game really going on.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up taking UConn in this one too. New Mexico State, they shoot a lot of threes. 42% of all of their shots are three-point shots, but they're only hitting them at like a little over 32%. So they take a lot, but they're not very efficient at it. And if you're not going to hit your threes and they don't really have much of a post presence, I think it's going to be tough to beat UConn.
Yeah, they're actually a surprisingly big team, but man, with Teddy Allen as like the really big competitive shooter, he's really their offensive weapon. And if UConn can take him away, it's going to be a tough day for New Mexico State and the Aggies.
Yeah, I just don't think that New Mexico State has enough to compete with UConn. UConn's a very talented team, and they're very big compared to New Mexico State. But I will say, in brackets, if I'm trying to compete, especially for money, I might go New Mexico State here just for the upset because either way, I would have one of those two teams losing to Arkansas. So if I'm trying to win money and maybe get a game here that somebody else might not pick, I might just go with New Mexico State. But either way, one of them will probably end up losing to Arkansas.
So we sticking with UConn then?
Yeah, UConn.
Okay. And then with that in mind, it sounds like Chris has his mind made up that Arkansas is taking down Vermont.
Yeah, this is the one game that I'm actually nervous about. Arkansas got a rough draw here because Vermont is a very, very good team. Like they have solid shooters, they have good ball movement, and if Arkansas gets in a slump, Vermont's going to challenge them for sure. This is going to be a tough game. I wish the Razorbacks had any other matchup because I think they would do so much better, but this is the one I'm nervous about. So, like Chris said, if you're taking in a game that you want to bet, I'd take Vermont here. But if you're just going with chalk, Arkansas should be the good bet if they actually play like they're capable of.
Oh, sounds like there's some controversy. Jason not sold on Arkansas. What about Vishal?
Yeah, this is my first real upset pick here. I'm also going to be taking Vermont in this one. They're also a very big three-point shooting team, but unlike New Mexico State, Vermont can actually hit theirs, whereas Arkansas is just terrible from three. They're only hitting 30% from downtown, and they only have one starter who's shooting better than 31%. That's just probably not going to be good enough in this tournament where it's one game and you're out, and the great equalizer is the three-point line, and Vermont can hit them, Arkansas can't. I'm going to take Vermont.
Wow, so Vermont with the upset over Arkansas, are we doing it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
I mean, it's going to be a tough game, so it's going to be close. But if you're taking an upset, I like that one for sure.
And Vegas likes this too. Arkansas is only a 5.5 point spread. If you look at the other 5-12 matchups, they're all going to be all the other 5 seeds are 4 versus 13 matchups. Most of them are higher than this one. So only being 5.5 point favorites is a little bit concerning in this one.
I don't think you want to tell Arkansas that. That might give them something to fight for, and this game's going to end up being a blowout. You don't tell Arkansas that they're 5.5 point favorites only. So coming in hot,
Mason. Woo pig. Woo. Poor
Sorry,
Mason,
man. This is a tough go. I wish even if they pretty like I said, any other spot, I think they would easily coast into the next round. But this is the one that I was nervous about them drawing, and the fact that they have Vermont as a 13 just blows my mind.
Oh, no. Well, we talked about it on the preview show that Alabama might be a team to bet against in round 1. How are we going here with Rutgers/ND?
Yeah, it's tough to say because we still have to wait for this play-in game to go through between Rutgers and Notre Dame. Alabama has definitely been struggling, though. They have just not played well. Rutgers, on the other hand, has kind of come out of nowhere to finish the season strong and put themselves in contention to be in the tournament. So I think if Rutgers can pull out a win over Notre Dame, I think they can beat Alabama.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. If I'm assuming that Rutgers wins that first game, and if they do, Alabama goes down. And this will be another upset. I love that Rutgers is on a roll right now, and I think the team has the capability. I mean, they have 3 guys double digits, and it's going to be a tough game, and I think the Rutgers got it because Alabama, they're just so streaky.
Spicy. So, Chris, are you in on Alabama and Arkansas both of the SEC powerhouses going down round one?
I would actually agree with their logic on that one. If Rutgers wins, I think that they do take down Alabama. But I do also think that the game's going to play out one of two ways. Rutgers is going to either win close or Alabama is just going to annihilate them, because Alabama is one of those teams, like Arkansas, that when they're on offense, they are virtually unstoppable and they can beat the best teams in their conference, which are some of the best teams in the nation. However, I think Rutgers is just too consistent and they've been on fire lately. So I would have to go with Rutgers.
All righty. So Rutgers over Alabama. We'll see what happens when they beat Notre Dame. We're sticking with that if Notre Dame wins.
I mean, I'd bet on Alabama at that point just because I told you I didn't want Notre Dame in this. So the fact that they're even here is extremely frustrating to me.
All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. And by we, I mean Chris. Because the Texas Tech Red Raiders will be taking on Montana State, the 14 seed.
I will say, if we allow any more than 40 points, I think that's a loss in itself. But this game should be one of those games that's easy. I think that if it was any other 14 seed, it might be a little bit of trouble, but Texas Tech will rely on their defense heavily in this game, and I'm really hoping that they use this game as a game to get their offense going in the right direction. There's been too many stretches for my liking of 6 to 8 minutes without a bucket, and you just can't do that against the better teams. However, I just don't think Montana State is one of those better teams, so I see this as a pretty easy win for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Montana just because they have a balanced scoring attack. But again, the fact that Texas Tech has that size and has a benefit of having better players overall, I think that really gives them the edge here. And their defense has just been incredible this year. So,
all right, Vishal, is it Texas
go ahead.
Tech?
Clean sweep.
Too easy for Texas Tech. Up next, Davidson, who was one of the teams we had hyped up coming into the tournament. They're the 10 seed versus Michigan State, one of the teams we had hyped down during the preview. With that in mind, what are we doing here?
I mean, I think we all know where I'm going with this.
I think
because
so.
I'm a big Davidson guy. I think they have the talent for sure. And again, it's a balanced attack. I mean, this is something that so many bigger schools overlook, is just the fact they move the ball so well, and that's going to cause issues for Michigan State. I have to take Davidson here.
Yeah, I'm going to be taking Davidson too, and I'm also going to be taking the over on this one, over 140.5. Both of these teams are pretty good scoring the ball. They both shoot very well from behind the arc. Michigan State is shooting almost 38% from three. Davidson shooting almost 39% from three. I see a lot of points, but I think Davidson is just a better scoring team overall. So I'll take Davidson in this one. They're only 1.5 point underdogs, so Vegas obviously thinks this is a very close matchup.
Chris, clean sweep?
Yeah, I'd say a clean sweep. And since I got to get going in a few minutes, I will just say I also think I think very highly of Davidson, to the point where I think they're going to meet up with Texas Tech in the Sweet 16.
And do you think they'll beat Texas Tech in the Sweet 16?
No, not at all. But
okay.
They'll give that's I will say that is probably, of those bottom four teams in the Sweet 16, Davidson shooting is probably the scariest matchup for Texas Tech, just because they are susceptible to being like completely annihilated from the 3-point range because of that no middle defense. But I think Texas Tech will still beat them. But yeah, Davidson against Michigan State, Davidson wins.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Chris. And I assume before we get to Rutgers, Notre Dame versus Texas Tech, your vote will be with Texas Tech.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. We're so happy you could join us. Everyone follow Chris at QB3, QB3. That's QB3.
Thank you very much. Have a good one, guys.
You
See ya.
too.
See you, man.
So Chris is out. Now we can remove Texas Tech because we think Montana State's actually going to win. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't give you that bad of advice. However, Duke, the 2 seed, versus CSU Fullerton, the 15.
Yeah, I think this is another self-explanatory one. I mean, Duke is on a roll. I like the Titans, but it's just I think Duke has this in the bag just based on talent alone, and it's going to be tough for them to overcome it.
Yep, go ahead and put Duke into the next round. I'm fine with that one.
It's hard to bet against Duke versus the 15 seed. I mean, stranger
They've
things
lost
have
that
happened.
matchup a couple times though the last few years, so
They
it's not
have.
impossible.
It is
Lehigh,
definitely
anybody?
possible. Could it be? Do we want to? Lightning can't strike that many times, right?
It can for Coach K. His last year, if anybody could do it, it's Coach K.
And so, would we like to continue with the West, or do we want to move in? How do we want to do this?
I mean, I'm good either way. I think that
Let's
I would
conquer
probably-
the West.
yeah, I figured this would probably be the easiest way instead of having to go.
Exactly. Instead of losing our trains of thought. So we will start at the bottom then in reverse order. Davidson, the 10 seed, versus Duke, the 2. And Chris, before he left us, said Davidson to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I mean, I wish. I can't do it. I like Duke too much. I think that Coach K wants to at least make it to that second weekend. I think the team's going to play hard for him, and I can't. I want Davidson to do better. They just got an unlucky draw here with Duke being the next matchup.
Yeah, probably going to do the same thing, but I could definitely see this upset happening. Duke has not played good defense recently. They're just giving up a ton of points. Going back to their last game against North Carolina at the regular season, they're giving up so many points. And obviously, one thing we talked about was Davidson can score the ball. So if Duke does not do anything to address their defense, this upset is very real. This could definitely happen. But I'll probably stick on the safer side, take Duke, take their size, and hopefully they can pull that one out.
So we're saying possible, not probable for the upset.
This might be the 1-7-10 match against a 2 seed that has the best chance of pulling off an upset as we go through this bracket.
So we reserve the right to change it later. Is that what we're saying? Or this is one that the people, if they disagree with us, we understand.
Oh yeah, I mean Davidson. Just because Davidson shoots the ball so well, they could easily be an upset alert right here. This game's going to be close, I think, no matter what. And so,
yeah, I reserve the right to change this later in the week. We still got 2+ days to fill out our brackets. I'm not done yet, so this might be an upset later on in the week. But for now, I'll stick with Duke.
All right. What about Texas Tech versus who we assume is Rutgers?
I mean, I'm going to take the Red Raiders here. I think that they have the talent, and while Rutgers is hot, I don't think that they will be able to hang with the Texas Tech. So I'm going to say Texas Tech moves on and go chalk with the easy one here.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, Alabama, Rutgers, Notre Dame, I don't think any of them have a good enough offense to overcome Texas Tech's defense. So let's take Texas Tech on this one.
Texas Tech versus Duke in the Sweet 16. How about UConn versus Vermont? The upset Vermont over Arkansas, 13 versus 5, University of Connecticut.
See, this is another one that I'm tempted to take the upset again just because they are playing so well. And
The
UConn has
Cinderella
just
story.
they've just been so inconsistent. And so while Vermont has been that consistent, steady team, UConn has just been so up and down. They are one of the teams that will gladly fight you to the end of the game, but once they have that lead, they're just going to hold on to it and not play to win. They're going to just play to hold on to the ball and run out the clock.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting matchup. I don't really see either team has too good of a post presence. It feels like this is going to come down to who's going to shoot the ball better. And just based on the statistics, Vermont is shooting the ball significantly better than UConn, and they're shooting it a lot more. I think volume is an interesting stat to look at these teams. Even if you shoot the ball well, if you're not shooting it enough, doesn't matter. If you shoot it poorly, but you don't shoot all that much, then it's probably not a big deal. Vermont shoots a lot and they shoot well. So, yeah, I could see Vermont pulling this one off.
Vermont, the Cinderella story to the Sweet 16 from the 13 seed. Who will join them? Will it be the 1 seed of Gonzaga, powerhouse year after year, or will it be the Memphis Tigers?
Because it's their first matchup, I'm going to take Memphis here.
Goodness.
Wow.
I think that Duren is more talented than Holmgren. And so while I love Few more as a coach, I think the talent that Penny has recruited to Memphis is just too much for them to handle. And if they can really go into Holmgren and get him out early, this game's going to be over. And Duren is going to exploit it. Duren or Williams will end up exploiting the Gonzaga defense.
Yeah, it's hard for me to go that direction in this one. I definitely don't think Gonzaga is that strong of a team, especially compared to last year. I mean, they might be the number 1 overall seed in this tournament, but they're not that strong of a team. So I can definitely see them getting upset along the way, but it's a little tough to do that in the second round. So I'll probably still stick with Gonzaga on this one.
Oh, no, I have to decide.
Had to do it to you, Jack.
Jordan McDonald, Jason backing his guy.
Penny. Whoa. Larry Brown, not Penny. Okay, I am backing Larry Brown. Penny is a great recruiter, and Larry Brown is making that team into an excellent one with DeAndre Williams as the key cog in that machine.
Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to go chalk here, Jason.
I know. I'm a little spicy, so I get you taking that one. It's fine.
I think on this one, Gonzaga. Maybe you can convince me to get him knocked off later, but a round 2 exit for Gonzaga is quite spicy. So I'm gonna be thinking hard about this one. I'm gonna be second guessing this. So Gonzaga versus Vermont, though.
Yeah, I mean, if it's between those two, I think it's Gonzaga here. I mean, the 7-footer is what's going to end up messing with Vermont. If they're going to have to be able to nail every 3, and I just think that the length of Gonzaga is going to be too much. So I had either way they were going to end up losing to whoever won that game.
Yeah, I'll agree on that one. Vermont's tallest starter is only 6'8". That's not going to be enough against this Gonzaga team. So let's go and put Gonzaga into the next round.
All right, Gonzaga is going to the next round. The Cinderella story of Vermont ends in the Sweet 16. Texas Tech versus Duke. The 3 versus the 2. The Red Raiders versus the Blue Devils.
Yeah, and I think it's just, man.
Yeah, this one's super tough.
I mean, this is a close matchup. I think it really will come down to scoring and the fact that, golly, I'm going to probably take another upset here, and I'm going to take the Red Raiders just because I know Chris is all over it, and I think Coach K is going to be happy enough with the Sweet 16 run that he's going to let it go through. First year coach Mark Adams is coming for him. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, this one's super tough. I honestly don't know which way I want to go with this one. We talked earlier that, one of Duke's weaknesses lately has been their defense. That's not going to be too much of an issue against this Texas Tech team. They're not very good offensively. What they're known for is their defense. So just like Jason said, who's going to be able to score the ball in this one? It's tough to say. I think maybe Duke has maybe been a little bit too inconsistent over the last couple of weeks, whereas Texas Tech has been a little bit better when they're healthy. So, yeah, let's stick with Texas Tech on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like Paulo Banchero, but man, I think Texas Tech's just going to lock him down, and his 16.8 points a game isn't going to happen.
Right, I can see that.
So we're making our guy Chris Salazar at QB3 happy with a run to the Elite 8 for his Texas Tech Red Raiders, but they run into Gonzaga, the 1 seed in the Elite Eight. Who's going to the Final Four?
I guess Gonzaga's going to make the return because they just have the length. I think that's going to be a big issue, and they're able to score with their big guards. I just think the size of them is going to be too much for Texas Tech.
They have the size, but they're not very thick, though. They're kind of skinny boys out there in Gonzaga. Texas Tech might be able to beat them up down low. I think I'm going to take the upset in this one again and take the Red Raiders.
Steve Bonham just tuned in and see Vermont in the Sweet 16. Steve doesn't sound too happy about that one.
Yeah, he's salty. I get it. I mean, I love Arkansas. It's one of probably my favorite teams to watch, but they got a tough draw. It really can go either way, but they need to play their best game that first game to make it. You saw how Vermont got to there. I mean, Arkansas could easily get to the Sweet 16 in the same matchup.
So Gonzaga and Texas Tech. I got to decide. You're putting me on the spot, making me go. Let's see what else we can find on this.
All right, let me see here. What do you want to know? I'll give you any information I can.
Gonzaga, 87.8 points per game. Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech's not going to be able to hold them down. Gonzaga wins.
And that puts you about right where you need to be.
Yeah.
So Gonzaga to the Final Four in one division. Now we're going to head over to the East. And we've got Baylor versus Norfolk State, the 1 versus the 16. Who do we have?
I like
Steve
Norfolk
is
State.
Just surprised. Hasn't seen a lot of Vermont.
Oh, Steve, you're in for a treat, man. You need to watch that first game. It is going to be one of the most watched games. I guarantee it because it is going to be a fun one to watch. But of these two, it's going to be Baylor. I even think without Jonathan Chamwa that they're going to have enough. And if Cryer ends up being available for this game, that would be a huge boost for this team.
Yep, let's take Baylor.
No nonsense from Vishal. Just
not in the 116 matchups.
Not here. Not now.
No retrievers coming through this year.
Never. Nope.
What about in the 8-9 North Carolina versus Marquette?
I love Shaka Smart. I love his defense, but I think the fact that North Carolina has been playing pretty solidly compared to Marquette's spotty gameplay, I think North Carolina takes this one up.
Yeah, this is going to be a high-scoring game. I believe this is the highest over/under for the first 2 days at 151.5. Both of these teams score a lot, and they also don't play very good defense. So this is going to be a very high-scoring battle. I'm also going to take North Carolina. I think Armando Bacot in the post is just going to be too much for Marquette to handle. They don't have that good of a post defense, and Bacot is a beast. I think he's going to be able to put this one over the top for the Tar Heels.
Coming up next, we have St. Mary's versus the 12 seed, which is either Wyoming or
Indiana.
Oh, geez Louise. That's not what I'm trying to do here. The Wyoming or Indiana. Who do we take here? 12 or 5?
If Wyoming wins, I think that they advance. If Indiana wins, I think St. Mary's advances. So again, I'm at that point that whoever ends up winning this play-in game is going to cause issues.
Yeah, I can see that. Indiana's just been set on a roll. I mean, they made a surprise run into the semifinals in the Big Ten. Jackson is playing incredible for them down low. I probably would take Indiana to beat Wyoming, and then, I could see St. Mary's holding on against Indiana, so we can put St. Mary's through.
Yeah, I think the fact that St. Mary's was able to handle Gonzaga in a game is a statement in itself on what they can easily do to Indiana.
So St. Mary's, the 5, knocking down the 12 in the East, unlike the West, where we had, who did we have there? The UConn
UConn won it. Yeah,
never mind. Sorry, it's the play-in game I'm talking about. The play-in game, the 11 Rutgers beating Alabama. But UCLA versus Akron, the 4 versus the 13. Who we going with here?
You're sticking chalk. I mean, UCLA is playing some pretty good ball, and it's the fact that they just have the talent around on that team with Mick Cronin as the head coach. They're very defensive minded, and I don't think Akron will have a shot here.
Yeah, UCLA going toe-to-toe with Arizona in the Pac-12 championship game was really impressive. I definitely like them to win this one, but I do think Akron can cover the 14.5. That feels a little bit large. I like what Enrique Freeman does for Akron in the post. He averages 10.8 rebounds and 1.2 blocks per game. I think that's going to be very handy against a UCLA team that doesn't have that much size. And Akron also shoots the ball very well, and they shoot a lot. 41% of their shots are from three-point range. So I think they can keep it close. And I think this game can go over the total of 129.5.
Yeah, I mean, when you have three guys starting that are 6'7", it's going to cause issues for Akron.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, you have your 6'8", Ali, and Enrique, who's 6'7", but when you have that extra guy and your next biggest guard is 6'2", you're kind of in trouble. I guess they could try and play Dawson, but they're really out of luck, unfortunately. They need another big guy that plays consistent minutes.
So take the over, but take UCLA, Vishal.
Take UCLA and for them to win. I just think 14.5 might be too many points. I might take Akron to cover the spread on that one.
Gotcha. Just want to make sure that we're all satisfied here on the Important Nonsense Bracket Builder. But up next, we've got the Texas Longhorns versus the Virginia Tech Hokies. Are we going horns up or horns down?
I'm going to say that I'm going horns down here. I like Virginia Tech. I think they are getting hot. I think they're playing really good basketball right now, and Texas has just been stalling out, and I am nervous for them. I think this matchup is not the draw that they wanted, and they get exploited here.
Yep, completely agree. Virginia Tech was a surprise team. Was a surprise team from last week. They made a completely surprising run to the ACC championship game, and they won that against Duke. They're just a better team. Texas is very poor offensively. I mean, they play good defense, but they have to be able to score the ball if they want to win games, and they just can't do that. Virginia Tech can. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, so I got Virginia Tech moving on.
Well, that's just sad. Double horns down means Virginia Tech Hokies to the round of 32. Up next, the 3 seed in the Purdue Boilermakers versus the 14 seed in the Ivy League, Yale University.
Yeah, I like Yale, but the fact that they messed up their spelling on their championship shirts makes me say that I'm going to have to put Purdue through here.
Oh, no. That doesn't sound very Ivy League.
Yeah, the Yale Bull de Gods don't work out very well.
Yeah, I got to take Purdue. I mean, they have nobody on their team who can come anywhere close to stopping Zach Edey in the post. Their tallest guy is 6'8", so let's take Purdue.
Yeah, Edey's going to be a monster. Yeah, Jack knows all about the Canadian.
You got to love those Canadians. Jaden Ivey, Zach Edey, and Purdue to the moon from Jordan McDonald at Donald McJordan, one of our staff members at ImportantNonsense.com. Check us out. Join our Patreon, and you can chat with him anytime you want. And you can get his thoughts on Murray State, the 7 seed versus the 10 seed in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, these are both very good teams, but again, when it looks at the offensive portion of it, I am taking my Racers here, man. I was excited for them to have a shot, and I think they're going to try and run with it.
I'm actually going to take San Francisco in this game. They're surprisingly favored. They're 1.5 point favorites despite being the 10th seed in this one. I just think they shoot the ball very well, 35% from 3, and they're also shooting it from 3 44% of the time amongst all of their shots. So they shoot a ton of threes. This is going to be a very fast-paced game, so you definitely take the over 138.5. I'll take San Francisco to pull this one out.
Goodness. Oh, you're making me decide again.
This is only like the third time. You'll be okay, Jack.
Well, see, the thing about this one is I don't know if I can go with a lower seeded favorite in terms of the spread. I think that's kind of silly. It feels like a trap for Vegas. It feels,
Could
I don't
be.
know, it feels too spicy for my understanding. And we did preview Murray State in the preview show. So I'm going to be consistent, stick with Murray State. Who will they face, though? Will it be Kentucky, UK, or will it be St. Peter's?
Yeah, going chalk here. Take the easy one. It's Kentucky.
Yep, Kentucky.
Okay, just no debate here. Just
Nope.
Kentucky slam dunk over St. Peter's. The luck of
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Oscar Tshiebwe and Ty Washington, and it's just it makes me nervous for St. Peter's. They're going to really see a good team, and it's going to be an unfortunate matchup for them.
Will it be an unfortunate matchup for Murray State as well? And Vishal, would it be an unfortunate matchup for San Francisco?
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate for either team. I think Oscar Tshiebwe is just too big for either team to handle. Both guys have okay post presences for offensive play, but not guys who can guard Tshiebwe on the other end. So I'm definitely going to take Kentucky no matter who pulls this one out for Murray State or San Fran.
Yeah, you're looking at a very offensive team here in Kentucky. It's too hard with the potential player of the year in Oscar Tshiebwe. You have to move him on here.
Let's see, I could have changed my mind and gone back to San Francisco if Vishal was getting spicy on a win, but
Not
gotta
this
go.
time.
I don't know. We're gonna stick with Murray State, and we're gonna stick with Kentucky heading to the Elite Eight. That's not the Elite Eight. That's round of 16. This is Sweet 16. Yeah.
Yep, Sweet 16.
Sweet 16 here. Will they be facing the Purdue Boilermakers, the 3 seed, or will they be facing the 11 seed in the Virginia Tech Hokies?
See, this is a tough one. I like both teams here. I think that you have to go with the Boilermakers, but it's tough. I think this could be one of the upsets that you could easily put through, and I'd be okay with just the fact that the Boilermakers were very consistent early and then have been starting to cool off a little bit. It's going to be an interesting matchup for them, and this is definitely going to be a game to watch.
Yeah, this is going to be a super fun game. Both teams shoot better than 39% from 3, so there's going to be a lot of points in this one. But again, probably going to come down to size in this one. Zach Edey and Trevion Williams are just bigger than anybody that Virginia Tech has, so I'm going to put Purdue in the next round.
Boilermakers to the Sweet 16.
Canada to the Sweet 16. We got you.
Canada to the Sweet 16. Up next, we have the 4 seed versus the 5 seed. We've got St. Mary's versus the University of Central Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel bad for St. Mary's because this is a talented team that they're running into. And so I'm taking UCLA here. It's going to be, you saw what they could, the fact they even competed against an Arizona team that's that big, it makes me nervous for St. Mary's, and UCLA should just be able to run right over them.
Yep, I definitely like UCLA in this one as well. Their form has just been too good of late, and I think they can definitely make their second straight run to a Sweet 16.
Up next, the 1 seed, the Baylor Bears, versus the 8 seed in the North Carolina Tar Heels. Are we going with the Bears, or will the North Carolina Powder Blue be heading to the Sweet 16?
Since Jonathan's out, I'm going to take UNC here. I think, whoa, Steve's picture, that's weird. I'm going to take North Carolina. If Jonathan Chama was there, it'd be one thing, but even, again, Cryer makes it close, but the fact that they don't have either of those two big presents that were really a big part of their offense at the beginning of the year that kind of took them this far, I don't think that they have a shot against North Carolina.
I surprisingly agree. I think this is a big upset special in this region. North Carolina with Baycott in the post is just going to be too much for Baylor with all their injuries. It would have been fun to see Baylor at full strength this year to see if they could defend their championship run, but it's just going to be too much for them to overcome.
Yeah. You're muted, Jack.
Mute, Jack.
Sorry about that. With that in mind, we've got the Sweet 16. We've got the blue on blue. We've got North Carolina versus UCLA. Who's heading to the Elite Eight?
Yeah, I don't think this is an upset. I'm going to take UCLA again. I think the Bruins are too much. And while I like North Carolina as a fun game, UCLA should have the upper hand here. Part of the reason they got the 4.
Well, Steve's just being rude. Jack looked great for a second there.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm probably going to have to agree with Jason and take UCLA, but I definitely feel like I could switch this to North Carolina later in the week. I think their size is going to be a problem, could be a problem for UCLA, and I'll have to dig into the numbers a little bit more, but for now, let's stick with UCLA.
UCLA heading to the Elite Eight. Will they be facing the 2 seed in the Kentucky Wildcats, or will they be facing the 3 seed in the Purdue Boilermakers?
Nope, I'm going to go chalk again. I'm taking Kentucky here. I think this is where Canada stops his run, and it ends up being a Kentucky show. So we're going for the Derby here.
Yep, I agree. As big as Purdue are, they're not that athletic. Those 2 guys, in Edey and Trevion Williams, and that athleticism or that lack of athleticism is definitely going to show up when they play this Kentucky team. So let's take the Devils, or the Wildcats, I should say.
I'm so sorry, Jordan. Well, looks like we're SOL as the Canadians here, and the Kentucky Wildcats heading to the Elite Eight, facing the UCLA Bruins, who is heading to the Final Four.
This is tough. I think this is going to be probably your best matchup. I mean, you see the 2 and the 4. They have all the talent in the world for both teams. I think I'm going to take it down to coaching here. And I'm going to go with Calipari. I like Mick Cronin, but I don't think he can get it done. I don't think that Mick Cronin can get it done. He folds too easily under pressure, and while they have the talent, I'm going to stick with Kentucky here.
And when you said coaching, I was definitely expecting you to go the other way. I mean, Calipari hasn't done a lot recently coaching-wise, so that's a little bit of a shocker, but I definitely agree. Let's go Kentucky on this one. They're just going to have the size, and I think they're going to have the guard play that's going to be enough to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, Mick Cronin was a Cincinnati guy, so it's one of those things that I've seen a lot of him, and when it gets a big-time game, he starts to fold a little harder. So this being his real first matchup that could shock people, he's going to struggle.
So that means we'll have Gonzaga versus Kentucky in the Final Four, but before we can get to that, we've got to conquer the Midwest, starting from the bottom here. Auburn versus Jeville State. Is that Jacksonville State?
It is Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Let's stick with Jeville, though. We like that better.
I like Jayville State. Hashtag Duval.
Well, this is the big mess that we were talking about. So it's going to be Auburn, but it should be Bellarmine taking this team on, and I feel bad for him here.
Yeah, let's stick with Auburn.
Would you have taken Bellarmine?
It would have been probably not, just because of the talent deficit, but man, it would be it would be tempting.
Duval. And so, will Auburn be facing the USC Trojans in the round of 32, or will they be going against the 10 seed in the Miami Hurricanes?
Yeah, I guess I'm just controversial, man. I like Miami here. USC hasn't done a whole lot come down the stretch, and Miami's often seems to be clicking right now. It's going to cause issues. As much as I love my Trojans and fight on, that I think the Hurricanes blow them over here.
I don't really like either team. It's probably a game I'm going to skip because I don't really care about either of them. They haven't done anything lately that would intrigue me. So let's go with Miami. I could care less on this one.
Vishal, just the shots fired. With that said, though, stand back because there's a hurricane coming through to the round of 32. Oh, the Jags signed Evan Ingram to play center for Jacksonville State.
That's what's up. Stonehands is going to be
He would
set.
still probably be bad.
Oh, goodness. Wisconsin, the Badgers, the 3 seed versus Colgate. Do 9 out of 10 dentists recommend Colgate, or will they be sticking with the Big Ten and the Badgers?
Man, I love Colgate, but the talent is just too big here. I think that they stick with them throughout the first half, and then Wisconsin pulls away in the second. So I'm going to take Wisconsin.
Yeah, probably going to stick with Wisconsin on this one too, but it's interesting. They're only 6.5-point favorites against Colgate. Every other 3 seed in this tournament is favored by double digits, so that just tells you how much or how little the odds makers like Wisconsin. I think there's some concern over Johnny Davis and his health if he's at 100%, but still probably going to be a little too much for Colgate to handle.
So Wisconsin moving on to face either the Iowa State Cyclones, or will they be facing the 6 seed in the LSU Tigers?
I'm going to let Vishal take this one because, like he said against the USC Miami game, I don't care. These teams, it's ugly. I don't want either of them to win. So
I agree too. This is the only other matchup in this first round that I was like, do I have to pick this? I really don't care. I honestly have no idea what Iowa State has done this year since I've been watching the past few weeks. They haven't done anything. LSU has been at least somewhat competitive in their SEC games, so let's just go with LSU.
Go Tigers! Up next, South Dakota State and the Jackrabbits versus the 4 seed in Providence.
I mean, I told you all how much I loved South Dakota State, and so I'm taking this upset. They shoot the ball so well, and Providence has been on a downslide. And the fact that they are still on this hot streak, I'm taking the Jackrabbits here to really shock Providence.
Would anybody like to guess what the line is in this game?
5.5.
It's 2. Providence is favored by 2
Let's go
as a 4 seed against a 13 seed. It is wild how much people like South Dakota State, and I haven't done enough deep dive enough on this one yet, but let's go with South Dakota State. If they're only 2-point dogs, let's just take them to win. That's
you have to watch. You have
line.
to watch some of them because when if they get hot, man, this game's going to be over in the first half. They can shoot that 3 ball like crazy.
South Dakota State moving on in the upset to take on either the Iowa Hawkeyes, the 5 seed, or will they be taking on the University of Richmond?
2 hot teams coming in here. I mean, they both played very well in their tournaments. Richmond clearly won it, knocking out Dayton. And so with that in mind, I think I'm going to take Iowa. I think that the talent's there. And as much as I like Richmond, they came on too late, and I think Iowa's going to take care of them.
Yeah, Iowa is as hot as you can be right now. They just stormed through the Big Ten and won that championship. The Murray brothers are playing terrific. And I hope everybody listened to us on Friday. I told you guys Iowa plus 900 to make the Final Four on Friday. That line has dropped to plus 330. So hopefully you guys got that before Iowa won the Big Ten tournament.
Iowa moving on here. And up next, we've got San Diego State and the Aztecs, or we've got Creighton, the 9 seed.
Yeah, I mean, this is such an interesting matchup. When you're looking at both these teams, it's going to be such an equal match that it's going to go back and forth. I just think that Creighton is going to be more prepared since they had all these Big East games to kind of prepare for a San Diego State style of game. And just the fact that Greg McDermott has been such a statute for the Blue Jays for such a long period of time, I think that him having that edge will push them into the next round.
Yeah, I'm going to take Creighton in this one too. This one has the lowest over-under among any game in the first round this week at 119.5. So don't expect a lot of points in this one, and that probably is going to end up favoring Creighton if it goes that way.
Yeah, both these teams really struggle to score, but they have really good defenses. So if you want a defensive matchup, this is the one you're going to want to watch.
Creighton and the Blue Jays. I mean, how can I, as a Canadian, go against the Blue Jays in round one? The 1 seed. We've got Kansas, the Jayhawks versus. Well, first, I think we should cover who's going to be facing Kansas, winning that 16 seed.
I think it's going to be Corpus Christi. I like Texas Southern, but it's, again, I think the talent is there for Corpus Christi, and it doesn't really matter because KU is going to win after that. So I feel bad for them that they have to play it. This one is beating Kansas. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
this is
that's
rolling.
definitely not a playing game I'm going to be watching.
So Kansas will be moving on. Chris coming in from the top rope, even though he's not able to be on the show because he's working. He still has the time to tell us that Creighton and San Diego winner beats Kansas. So Chris is taking Creighton to beat Kansas. Say Chris is beating Creighton. Chris is taking Creighton to beat Kansas 10 times fast. I can't even say it 1 time fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. I think, again, these are 2 seasoned coaches. Creighton has the opportunity, and you saw you and I have beaten KU before. If this is an upset that's going to happen, I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't do it. I like the Jayhawks here just because of the talent around them, and the fact that they can score pretty easily is extremely frustrating. So as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to take the Jayhawks to move on here.
Yeah, they just have enough talent in this one to beat Creighton. Like you said, Creighton doesn't score very well. Kansas scores well enough to be able to win this one.
Sorry, Chris. We will not be seeing Creighton take down Kansas. Will we see the Jackrabbits take down the Big Ten champions in Iowa?
Nope. I think, again, because of the fact that they're on such a hot streak, both these teams are coming in extremely hot. I just think that Iowa has a better defensive matchup here. And so as much as I want the South Dakota State Jackrabbits to really have a shot here, I don't think it happens for them, and Iowa ends up taking this.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be a shootout. In this one, both teams are very good offensively, but I think Iowa probably just has more guys than South Dakota State does. So take Iowa.
Big Ten champions moving on to the Elite Eight, the Sweet 16. Up next, LSU, a team that no one cares about, versus the Wisconsin Badgers, the 3 seed, LSU or Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think you just take the higher seed here. I think that Wisconsin has the ability, and LSU really hasn't shown anything. The fact that we just kind of pushed them through kind of gives you how much we really care about that team. So I'm going to say Wisconsin here.
Yeah, I mean, if LSU was playing anybody with a pulse in the first round, they probably wouldn't even be here. So we'll stick with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin moving on. Then we've got Miami, the Hurricanes, versus Auburn, the 2 seed.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Hurricanes here. I think that Auburn has done too little in the fact that Miami's playing so well right now. I think that Larenga's really put together a strong team, and so I'm going to take Miami here. Take the upset.
I'm honestly fine with that. Auburn has not played well recently. They got off to such a hot start this season, but what they've done the last few weeks has not been good. They're just not in the right space to be making a deep run in this tournament. I kind of wish Auburn and Duke were switched so we could have Davidson pretty easily make it to the Sweet 16.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that would be nice and easy. I could sleep pretty easily at night if we could do that. I don't know what Miami or USC is good at, so they could just, based on that fact, lose to Auburn. But I can stick with Miami. Let's do that one.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through the Midwest. Will that hurricane be stopped by a Badger?
Yep, I think it is. I think the Honey Badgers are going to have just enough to be able to finish it up and kind of turn into their own kind of Tasmanian devil here and take on Miami and take them down.
Yeah, fully healthy Wisconsin team with Johnny Davis at full strength is going to be too much for Miami.
And with Wisconsin heading to the Elite Eight, will they be taking on the Kansas Jayhawks or the Iowa Hawkeyes?
Yeah, this is where it really comes in for me. I mean, I think that KU should advance here. They really should. But Fran McCaffrey has done such a great job with Iowa, and they're just rolling so hot right now. I think you want to take the upset to be different here. I think KU could easily win this game, but I'm going with the upset. I'm taking the Hawkeyes here.
Same. Iowa's been my sleeper team for the last couple of weeks. I really like what they've been doing. It's been super impressive rolling through a Big Ten conference that's as good as it is. And Kansas can just be inconsistent sometimes. I mean, they struggled with TCU in their last week of the regular season a couple times when they should have just rolled them over, whereas Iowa was just completely dominant this past couple of weeks. So I'm going to take Iowa.
Steve thinks if Iowa gets past Kansas, they walk to the Final Four. Something
Agreed.
that Vishal said before we even we had Selection Sunday, before they won the Big Ten. Iowa taking over Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, they're running hot. Fran's done a great job, like I said, and it's going to be really hard to stop Keegan Murray here. I think that he's been playing some really good ball, and I think that there's just too much for him to handle.
Yep, agreed.
I love just how excited Vishal is. He's just sitting there smiling. Everyone else agrees with me. Everyone made my points for me.
Yep, pretty much.
I got you, Vishal. We're all good here.
All right. So our final division, we've got the South. We've got Arizona taking on ? Who is the 16 seed, and can they knock out Arizona in round one?
Yeah, this was probably one of the harder matchups for 16 seed. And I don't think they will. It doesn't matter because Arizona's going to win here. But I think that Wright State actually ends up taking Bryant down here.
Yeah, let's stick with that. Not another first four game I'm not going to be watching. I'm sorry. The fact that they put these 16 seeds in the first four and make us watch those is not fun. Let's get some better teams in there.
And so TCU versus Seton Hall, the 8 versus the 9. Who's taking on Arizona in the round of 32?
I want to hear what Vishal says on this one because I'm going to be contrarian to him here.
This one's going to be close. It's only a 1-point spread in Seton Hall's favor. I'm probably going to take Seton Hall. I think they just have the size advantage. That's going to be too much for TCU to handle. But neither team scores the ball that well. So it's probably going to end up taking the under as well on this one, and that's going to be 130.5 on the over-under. I'm going to take the under on that one.
Yep. Dang it. I thought for sure you're going to take TCU on their hot run, but yep, I agree. I think the Hall takes this. So I'm set for that. That was a pretty good pick. I was just surprised that you went with it.
Gotta take the favorite sometimes.
Do you got to take the favorites in the 5 seed, Houston versus the University of Alabama, Birmingham?
The Blazers. No. So this is a really fun matchup because these are two teams that one is leaving and the other is entering the American Conference here. So while Houston is going out to greener pastures, allegedly with Big 12, good for them. UAB is going to be joining the American. I'm excited for this game, but we saw what Houston just did to Memphis, and the fact that Coach Kelvin Sampson is still the man here. I'm going to take Houston to win this game.
Yeah, I really wanted to take UAB because the only thing I've heard this weekend is Jelly Walker, Jelly Walker, Jelly Walker. I didn't know who this guy was, but that's all anybody's been talking about.
Oh, you didn't watch the game?
I saw it. It was on the background. I wasn't super paying attention. It was there. I saw overtime, double overtime, triple overtime, but I just wasn't paying attention all that much. He seems like a fun player, but he's 5'11". Houston's guards are a lot bigger than 5'11". They're just going to give him too tough of a time. Houston is like the best defensive team in the country, giving up less than 60 points per game. Unfortunately, can't take the upset in this one.
So, Houston moving on to the round of 32. Will they be taking on Chattanooga, the 13 seed, or will it be Illinois, the Fighting Illini, the 4 seed?
All right, here's one for you, Jack. Chattanooga, what's their mascot?
I haven't a clue.
The Mocs.
The Mocs.
Yep. Just something I came across that I figured a lot of people didn't know. It's something fun, but you can't. It's a Fighting Illini here. They're too good. They're too tall. They're too big. Chattanooga doesn't have a shot.
I agree with Illinois on this one, but I do think Chattanooga can keep this one close. I actually like them to cover the 6.5 points on this one. But in the end, Illinois is, like you said, Jason, they're too big. Kofi Coburn's 7 feet tall. They're just going to be too much. But their guard play is super inconsistent with Illinois. Curbelo and all those guys, Trent Frazier, they're just not – they're very talented, but they're just not consistent enough. I think that's going to allow Chattanooga to keep this one close.
One last thing about Iowa, Kansas, too. Don't forget that game is in Chicago, which is basically a home game for Iowa.
KU fans travel pretty well, but yeah, I agree. It should be mostly Iowa fans there.
The Fighting Illini to the round of 32. Will Michigan be joining them, or will it be the Colorado State Rams, the 6 seed?
So I've been high on the Rams all season long because they continue to surprise me, and I think they can surprise Michigan here just because of the fact that they are able to score the ball so well. They have great ball movement. It's something that a lot of teams will overlook, and I think that Michigan gets caught off guard here.
Michigan is the favorite in this game. They're 2.5 point favorites despite being the 11 seed in this one. I think Michigan is just going to have too much size for Colorado State. Colorado State has a very heavy guard lineup, so they're not very big. I think Hunter Dickinson and Diabate for Michigan are probably going to be able to put up points in this one and just take this one from Colorado State.
Do we have odds on a Juwan Howard post-game incident? I think Juwan Howard's going to be fired up after this one, so I totally get going with Michigan. The team's going to be playing hard for him. Michigan with the upset here. What about their opponent? Will it be Longwood, the 14 seed, or will it be Tennessee, the Volunteers, and the 3 seed?
Nope, I'm taking the Vols. They're playing very good basketball. I think that the 3 seed is actually low. I thought they would be a 2 seed, and so I'm surprised on this one. And again, just feel bad for the Lancers that they have a tough matchup to start.
Yeah, I agree. Super impressive what Tennessee did in their tournament. Even though they were the 2 seed in the SEC tournament, nobody was talking about them. We were all talking about Kentucky, Arkansas, and some people were still talking about Auburn, but nobody was talking about Tennessee. But they didn't care. They just ran through everybody and won that thing. Super impressive. Definitely going to take them in this first game.
Tennessee moving on to face Michigan. Now we've got a matchup between one of Jason's pre-tournament favorites in Loyola, Chicago, versus one of Jason's pre-tournament shouldn't be in here. Ohio State, Loyola, Chicago. Who's winning?
We're going to ramble. We're going to ramble from place to place, and it's going to be the Ramblers here for Loyola, Chicago. Good ball movement is going to be too much for Ohio State to compete with, and it's just going to cause too many issues.
Yep, I agree. Loyola Chicago is the favorite in this one, 1.5-point favorites. Ohio State is just not a good defensive team. I think that's what's going to end up hurting them in this one. I like the over at 132.5, and I like Loyola Chicago to pull this one out, even though there could be some issues with their height. Joey Brunk is moved into the starter position for Ohio State. He could give Loyola Chicago some problems, but Chicago just shoots the ball too well for Ohio State.
Wow, I'm surprised that it's that high. I thought this game would be a lot lower scoring than that. I mean, it could very well go over, but again, I just think that Loyola really tries to slow this game down, which will give them the advantage.
And Loyola. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say they could try to slow it down, but they shoot the three 42% of the time when they have the ball. So they like to chuck it up, and they shoot it very well. And Ohio State does not defend anything. So I think, I mean, they could try to slow it down, but even when they do, they're going to make all their shots anyways.
So Loyola moving on. The upset in the standings, but not an upset in terms of the Vegas win totals, Vegas spread. Will Loyola be facing Villanova, the 2 seed, or will they be taking on Delaware, the 15 seed?
I just think that Villanova is going to slow the game down, going to cause too many issues. They're going to have control over it, and so it's going to be too much for Delaware Blue Hens to handle.
Yep, Villanova is a team nobody's talking about for some reason, despite all the success they've had the last few years, and they just won another Big East tournament. It seems like nobody's talking about them, but yeah, let's go Nova.
Let's go Nova. Can they take down the Ramblers?
Again, it's going to be, I think this is an ugly game, and so Villanova should have the edge. I wish the Ramblers could get past them, but I don't think the fact that the defense is so good and Gillespie, well, I guess if Gillespie goes out, that could be another thing. Again, it will be his 3rd year in a row that he hasn't been able to complete a tournament. So,
yeah, this one's going to be very close. I'm not sure which way I want to go just yet. Both of these teams are kind of upperclassmen-led teams. They have a lot of experience. Loyola Chicago's done very well in their last couple tournaments. So I could definitely see them pulling this one off, but I think Gillespie is probably going to be the best player in this game, so I'm going to take Villanova.
Villanova moving on once again to the Sweet 16. Will they be joined by the University of Michigan or the University of Tennessee?
I'm going to volunteer this one to let Vishal go first.
Probably going to have Tennessee continue on. Even though Michigan has a lot of size, it's just not going to be enough against this Tennessee team. Very good defensively. They take the ball away at a very good rate, and they're just going to be able to overpower Michigan.
Yep, I agree. Volunteers are playing well, and I'm excited for them. I'm glad that they were able to put things together to make this run.
Volunteers, Villanova, both heading to the Sweet 16. Will they be taking on Arizona or Seton Hall?
I'm going to take, of those, I'm looking at Arizona. I don't think that, I think the talent is there. Tommy Lloyd's doing a great job, and I just think it's too much for him to handle.
Yeah, their size is just going to be way too much for Seton Hall. These guys run you up and down the floor like nobody else in the country. So, yeah, Arizona.
Arizona moving on to the Sweet 16, joining Tennessee, joining Villanova. Who will join them? Houston or Illinois?
Sticking with my Cougars here. I think that Kelvin Sampson, again, knows how to take away Kofi, and you said it earlier, their guard play is suspect. So with that in mind, I think Houston can definitely take advantage here.
Yeah, when Illinois is playing well, they're just so much fun to watch, and you just want to pick them with all your heart. But they just can never play up to their full potential. Their guard play, like you said, just not consistent enough. Houston, so good defensively that they're just going to give them too much trouble. Let's go Cougars.
Let's go Cougars. Can they take down Arizona, though?
This is where the issue comes in. The fact that the Cougars are only playing 8 really hurts them. I really wish that they had Tremont Mark and Marcus Sasser to really boost this team. I think that this would be an easy matchup for them, and it'd be a lot more competitive. But even with them trying to slow down the team, you can see what happened to Memphis. Memphis took them twice this year. I just don't think that they'll be able to slow Arizona down enough to really take over this game.
Yeah, Marcus Sasser going out definitely hurt them. He was their leading scorer at the time, so there's just not as much depth as they once had. They're only shooting 34% from three, so against the Arizona team that can probably overcome their defense, Houston's going to need to score points to keep up, and they just probably don't have enough bodies at this point.
I'm more worried about them getting in foul trouble. I think that's going to be the big issue.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hashtag go Cougs, more like hashtag no Cougs. Arizona moves on. Will they be taking on the 2 seed in Villanova or the 3 seed in Tennessee?
Doing it again. I'm sticking with Steve Bonham here. He loves his Volunteers, so I'm going to take the Volunteers.
Yeah, I agree on this one. I think Villanova is probably not going to be big enough to take on Tennessee in this one. I think Tennessee's size is going to cause a lot of problems. Their physicality and their just overall good defense is going to be enough to win this one.
Tennessee knocking off the 2 seed. Can they knock off the 1 seed and head to the Final Four?
I don't think they can. I think it's going to still be Arizona here. I think Tommy Lloyd does such a great job, and I want him to. I really think that Tennessee deserves it more, but man, this team's tough to play against.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona is just everything well. They play offense well. They play defense well. They just don't have any weaknesses. Everybody on that team is a giant. Let's take Arizona.
Steve agrees that Tennessee and Villanova is a coin flip, and the winner of that game will be so drained that they fall to Arizona, which sends Arizona to the Final Four versus Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this is what the NCAA really wants here. They want Arizona to go against Gonzaga. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to take Arizona at least in this half.
Yeah, this is where it's going to be tough for Iowa. They as good as they are, they have limited size, and this is going to be the first time in this tournament where that's going to bite them in the butt. So I'm going to take Arizona.
Arizona heading to the Natty to take on Kentucky or Gonzaga.
Yeah, as much as I want it to be Gonzaga for the head coach versus assistant coach matchup, I am going to take Kentucky here. I think that Gonzaga is going to be tired. I think Kentucky has the talent, and man, while I love Holmgren and all that they are doing in Gonzaga, I don't think they can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and you, Jason, we both agree we didn't even want Gonzaga to get this far. We probably had them losing in their own region, so but we both like Kentucky. I think Sheboy is just going to be too much for Gonzaga to handle. Imagine if they played Holmgren on Sheboy. I would love to see that matchup.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun.
That would be one of the funniest sights you could see. Well, let's take Kentucky.
Kentucky taking down Gonzaga. Can they take down Arizona as well?
Man, I think the fact that Arizona had an easier defensive matchup is really going to give them the edge here. And so Tommy Lloyd's first year is going to be a historic one because he wins it.
Once again, I have to agree. What Kentucky did in the semifinal of the SEC tournament was a little concerning, how they just went completely cold from the field. I think they had 1-3 all game. Arizona just hasn't done that. They haven't had that inconsistent spell that we've seen from Kentucky every now and then. So, Wildcats.
Congratulate.
Not Kentucky.
See?
You take the Wildcats, you win either way.
Correct.
Congratulations to the Arizona Wildcats. What's the final score, though? How are we going to win this tiebreaker here?
I'm going to say that they put up 79 points to Kentucky's. Trying to decide if they actually dribble it out or if they continue to play. And if that's the case, I'm going to say 67.
Woo!
I'll keep it a little bit closer. I'll make it 77-70.
I'll bring it a little bit closer here with Vishal. That makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. The 7-point win. Oh, nope, 77.
70.
70. There we go. Inserts Wildcats versus Wildcats Simpsons meme. It's true. It's true. It's damn true. And so, with all of that in mind, remember, take Arizona to win the national championship. Take Iowa to make the Final Four. Take Gonzaga to get upset if you have to, because we don't hate that idea. But Arizona and the Wildcats here for the win.
Yeah,
Gentlemen.
should be a great tournament. Should be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. There's a lot of potential upsets that could easily happen, and this is going to be a great year for it. I'm just so happy that basketball's back, and it's going to be
Fans are going to be
good one.
back too this year, unlike last year. So we're just all the way back. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a fun couple weeks experiencing the madness of March. I can't wait to enjoy it with the two of you, with all of our friends at importantnonsense.com, with all of our friends in the Important Nonsense Patreon and the Discord. You can join for just $1. And I'm excited to follow along with at Vishal_Gupta95. I'm excited to follow along with at that FF nerd. And I'm thankful to talk to you two guys. And we'll be back hopefully around Sweet 16.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for whatever. I'm excited for all these games. I want to see how badly we messed up and see where we missed and really critique the heck out of every game we can, because it's going to be a fun tournament for sure.
Yeah, it's always fun getting super excited. Then you lose your first game, which is going to be Colorado State versus Michigan. That's going to be a tough one. So let's hope we go 1-0 to start.
Well, we will be back at some point to break down our hits, break down our misses, do a reset bracket for the rest of the season. But until then, we will see you next time.